Oh, all right. So we are starting with Cherubim and Seraphim. All right. For we already discussed Christ Apostolic Church and Celestial Church of Christ under the African Independent Churches. So we'll be doing Cherubim and Seraphim today. So please check back on that CAC and Celestial Church of Christ topic. I know it quite well. So like I said, they can ask you to narrate how those churches are founded, the things that are peculiar to those churches. Yes, they can ask you to do that, so we should find out. So let's look at Cherubim and Seraphim. After them, we'll now do the Pentecostal churches. So if we have time, we can also do proliferation of churches, and we know that we are left with all those mission things. All right, so about Cherubim and Seraphim. The Cherubim and Seraphim Movement Church, also known as C&S, I think that's a popular thing that people know them as C&S, was founded by Moses Orimolade Tuolase. Yes, you would have heard of Olorun Orimolade when people are praying, people in C&S Church. So this church was founded in 1925 in conjunction with Christiana Abiodun Akinsoro, a deaf and dumb lady healed by Orimolade. So I think that's where their partnership started from. So the lady was deaf and dumb, and then Orimolade healed her, and that's how they became partners. So they were doing that ministry work together. So after the healing event, they both teamed up as father and adopted daughter. So the lady was like an adopted daughter to him, and they offered services to heal and pray for people. So which means that they didn't start at C&S. They started at people that were offering help to people, to pray for people to heal. Then in 1925, they said that Jesus had directed them to name their cycle of followers Seraphim. So at the time that they started praying, for people's healing and all that, I think they already have people, that love their ministry. So they said at the point, Jesus directed them to give their followers the name Seraphim. So the name is after an angel they claim to have seen in their dreams. So 2 years later, they added Cherubim to the name of their church, and that's where the name Cherubim and Seraphim coined out from. So not quite long after its beginning, the organization became riddled with jealousy, dispute, and breakaway, characterized by splinter groups going their different ways. So from that understanding, they were united before, but because of jealousy, probably they were envying what Moses was doing, so they started splitting. I want to follow so person first, follow so person. So the urge to remain far away from controversies, disputes, and trivialities, which hindered progress, led to the formation of the Movement Church in November. So aside from the C&S, they now created the Movement Church. All right. So a group of people comprising of late N.E. Koka, S.A. Adekoya, Kalejaye Ajayi, Agbola, blah blah blah, started worshiping at a residence belonging to one Mrs. Adebi at Ibadan Street in Kaduna. So the church formed then later had an initial crisis which brought her into two factions. So that crisis, actually made them to divide into factions. So one faction moved to Jos Road, and the other faction moved to another road. So the group led by Adefowope worship in his house, and then this is just the part of the story. I don't think they will be asking you all this kind of information because you might forget. But I think what you should pay more attention to is that who founded it, how did they start it, and then how did they get about the name, then what are the things that are peculiar to the church. Do you understand? So if you can know that one, you can just talk about that. Due to controversies and all that, the group eventually split into two factions, but you don't have to go into detailed story about it. All right, so let's just look at the things that are peculiar to these churches. All right, so let's look at things that are peculiar. I think one of the things that is peculiar to them is that they also wear white garments, but the difference between them and C&S is that they wear shoe. They can wear shoe or slippers on their own garment, but when they get to their church, they have to remove their shoe before they enter the church. And also, they believe in the word of the Holy Spirit. They read the Bible, and they believe in regular church attendance, and then they also believe in showing love to one's neighbors and then the nation. So another thing about their worship methods, like how do they worship, is that they base their worship on the New Testament of the Bible, particularly the book of Revelation. That's why they're only talking about someone enter Emi. It's what they call it, like the person went into trance. Thank you. Person went into trance. So, and you know that thing happens for a long time. I remember that if you check Revelation, the first chapter of Revelation talked about John. That said he was in a vision when the Lord took him. So that's why most of their they got it from that book of Revelation. So the object they use candles in their church, which represent God revealing himself to mankind as fire. So that they only lighting fire. And then incense that they used to carry around in the church, they believe drives away evil spirits and creates a holy atmosphere for the Holy Spirit to take preeminence. So then the bell that they use it for their musical purpose, and it's also a sign of victory. Like when you ring the bell, like victory is theirs and all that. So they also believe that when they ring the bell, it calls on the heavenly creatures to assist them in their prayers. So I think those are the things that you should actually pay more attention on. Having understand, like you already know the storyline, the person that started the church, how we started, the name and everything. Then you must focus more on the worship methods and what those things that they used, those their worship tools, what they symbolize. So before the service commences, the most senior elder rings the bell 3 times to call the people around the church premises to join in prayers. And like I said, they wear white garment as a form of uniform, and they believe that this is garment of the faithful. So according to them, white was the clothes that Jesus wore during his suffering. So that's where they got the understanding for that. During Jesus' suffering, his crucifixion and all that, Jesus was putting on white. So they believe that white, that was Jesus' clothes, so it's the clothes of the faithful. And then they believe in the use of water and oil. That's why, like I said, I think the sadness I know is close to a river, my church. So they believe in the praying on water, then they use oil. You see people, you carry oil for prayer. And then they believe water has a type of healing power because of the strength of baptism and the Spirit of God that dwells in it. And then fasting is another tradition that they have. Like they fast often. They believe it's an injunction of Christ for support for prayer. So they believe that when you fast to support your prayer, they believe that when you fast, it's fasting is something that you can use to support your prayers for being answered. So they also believe that fasting increases their spiritual strength and speeds up their success in spiritual matter. That's why you see that they say that somebody is on BBD. I think it's from there that I heard it before, that somebody is doing a long stretch fast. It's from there that I heard that you can do white fast. That you will not take pepper, you just be taking fruit. It's from there that I heard it. So they really believe in fasting so much. Then the church also has a set of taboos and things that they can't do. So they have food that they cannot eat. I remember I told you that select, they don't take pork. So they have food that they can't eat. They believe that this food they can't eat it, that to affect their spirituality. So they don't eat such food. And then sexual immorality, drunkenness, and all works of the flesh as stated in the Bible, they need to run away from it. So you can't drink and all that. And then the Cherubim and Seraphim Church has special ceremonies, anniversaries, such as Holy Michael's anniversary. They have Holy Gabriel anniversary, and then they also celebrate a day of prayer for the peace of Jerusalem. And then this takes place on 4th Sunday in July. So that's that about Cherubim and Seraphim. So you can also read more. What I think you should do for you to practice is that carry your jotting notes, write Cherubim and Seraphim, write what you can write under it, so that you know if you know it well or not. Do you get? So you can't know the 3, you can just pick 2 that you can know 100%. Do you understand? Hello, so I just want to remind you that I have a book. Okay, the book is for CRS students, IJMB, JUPEB, undergraduate. So if you know anyone, please tell them about this book. I've sold 10 this week alone. So for you to know that the book is good, it's solid. So let me just take you through the contents, alright, so that you can know what to tell the person. So it's divided into 4 parts: Old Testament studies, New Testament studies, history of Christianity in West Africa, religion and society. So see the content for the Old Testament studies. Okay, you can take your time to go through it. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm just going to quickly move to the part 2. All right, so for the part 2, okay, I'm almost there. It's taking time. All right, so sorry for taking your time. Okay, so for the part 2, yes, the New Testament study, so you can see the topics that are there, valuable content loaded, right? So for the part 3, the third part, we have the history of Christianity in Africa, in West Africa rather. So we have Christianity in West Africa. You can see the topics. And we also have contemporary issues and history of Christianity in West Africa. So please, if you know anyone studying CRS and the person needs a book that is so simple, it's so simplified, very simple and clear, please recommend my book, okay? Thank you.